Today we're going to be doing some technical analysis for the SPY Qs, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, and Nvidia. And what we're going to do is we're really going to focus on this past week, look at those weekly ranges for every single stock that we're going to cover, and then on Sunday we're going to give the layout for what we think could happen in the week ahead and look for some signals that are still proving themselves that could sense some weakness in the near future. That signal that we're going to pay attention to on Sunday, and we're going to point out, is this signal still here with the SPY moving to a new high? And then let's just switch over on the daily to see that the Qs are actually still coming into a low. So as of right now, that is still intact, and we're going to talk about that more on Sunday. Really, what I wanted to show you on the daily here was what did we really do this week, right? We didn't test the bottom of our weekly range, which some stocks did. So we need to pay attention to those other stocks. But we see we didn't test the bottom. We didn't test the top. We didn't touch the monthly. We didn't touch this monthly. So what did we do? We're moving sideways, okay? We are starting to see that trickling up, and maybe we are starting to see on an hourly that we could have some positive trend forming, right? We could be in that positive territory. It looks like we never even dipped really into the negative territory to give us that negative trend on the SPY. And we're going to look at the Qs compared to that, but you can see how we're in that positive territory. So we can see that positive trend continue, right? Even though there are these big swings up and down, we will see that continue as long as we hold in positive territory. The Qs, that signal, we really want to pay attention to this high here. We're going to get into that on Sunday. So thank you so much if you are subscribing. And if you've already liked the video, I really do appreciate it. It really helps the channel out. But let's talk about this here. We were really talking about this overall cup forming here and closing and giving us a handle. And right now you can see from this this buying up that we have seen some moves out of this, right? We've seen some moves out of this channel, but we still are kind of giving that bigger handle at this point. So if this did want to break down, maybe we do, complete another cup here and get a smaller handle and start to head to lower levels. We're going to talk about the possible moves, but really we're paying attention to the fact that we didn't necessarily go anywhere. I mean, we went down early on in the week, but really we're just closing right above where we started from Friday's close. So in a whole week of price action, yes, you did see a drop off, but you are seeing that buyback up. So I really just wanted to point out the fact that we are moving overall sideways within this big range here. The Qs also did not test that weekly expected move, so let's get into a stock that did. And this is where we're going to bring up Apple, and Apple's pretty cool this week because we actually tested both sides. We tested both sides of the range this week. So I have put up all the ranges for this video, so it's very cool for you guys to see how we are closing within those ranges. Now, Apple did close outside of it, but we see once we do touch the bottom here, we actually do explode higher. And then where do we start to run into that resistance? Right around that weekly expected move. And we actually halt right at it. So if you're really paying attention here, this bottom here touched 187.46 on this bar right here. Our weekly expected move, 187.47. That's how powerful these things can be. And overall, when you reach these types of levels, let's say you were able to find this trade and you were able to catch this move, and you find yourself sitting right here at the top of this weekly expected move. The point of these weekly expected moves is just to tell you, hey, this might be a good area to take some money off of the table. And that's how you really have to look at it. Right now on Apple, we're going to really get into this, but I'm paying attention to this 15-minute because we're starting to coil up, looking like we're going to get some kind of big move in the near future. And you can see that, it just tells you to take it off the table because you only have that 16% chance of this thing going ballistic. And then you really only have that you also have that 16% chance that it goes completely the opposite way, but also you could have landed anywhere within this zone. So it's a very good point to take some profit off of the table there. But we will talk about this overall wedge and see what's going to happen in Apple throughout the next week. Let's get into Amazon, and Amazon was one we're paying attention to because it did get down into that negative territory. So we saw that kind of negative trend begin, right? We have those lower highs, we have lower lows, but then once we approach that weekly expected move, I think we're within like 20 cents of that move, right? We actually see that buying come back in, and now we're starting to coil up again, right? We're seeing this coil up, and that's what we're going to really talk about on the Sunday video is the moves from here. We weren't able to get to the top side of that move, but for Amazon, this area up in here has been some strong resistance, okay? So we really want to pay attention. Right now, you could see that there's some lines here. We can go over a bunch of ideas on Sunday for Amazon, but I really just wanted to show you guys how these weekly expected moves can help you out, right? If you are bearish and we start to approach that on Monday like we did, you can say, hey, maybe I'll take some profit here that way, just in case this thing wants to react and land back in the middle of this 68% zone, or even test the top of that weekly move. It's not going to hurt me as much. Tesla, I expected some more moves, and I've kind of changed my thinking here, right? I've kind of set up this little zone in here because it seems like if we break through this level, we could see some downside potential. If we break through this level, we could see that upside potential, right? So these are the weekly expected moves for Tesla this week, and you can see that we actually still held above this level. So if we would have broke down past here, this weekly expected move, most likely we could have seen some rejection off of that level because it's so important. So right now you have two important levels that we're going to talk about on Sunday, and Tesla is the one that, even though it didn't test these ranges right, it still landed right back in the middle, right in that 68% zone. So that's pretty cool. Now, Nvidia, we were paying attention to this level right here. It's right at that weekly expected move. So you can see these were the weekly expected moves for Nvidia for the week. And once we do get down towards that level, you're about 250 off from touching that. So it's a good area to take some profit off the table. We were paying attention to this overall cup and a handle forming. And I do still believe this has potential to be a handle at this point. You notice when we see rapid moves up, we get that selling. We get rapid moves out. We want to get back into it. So right now you can really see how we held at that level to trickle higher, and then we get a move, and now we're starting to consolidate maybe for another move higher in the near future. Just wanted to point out, yes, this MACD down here is in positive territory, but if it would roll over and start to break and hold below all these moving averages, you have a good chance to take out this low and continue that negative trend that Nvidia really started and kind of was the headliner of all these negative trends beginning. Sorry if you hear some stomping around, the dogs are playing, but what we're going to pay attention to a lot on Sunday is going to be these yields, because these yields got this reaction. You notice that the SPY and the Qs actually both had a green day, and you know, usually these are, if these start to spike pretty rapidly, right, 2% in one day, then we would see stocks start to hurt a little bit. But because that pivot scenario is in a lot of people's heads now, I'm actually thinking that they're going to hold to that standard of higher for longer. And what we can pay attention to here is the TLT, right? TLT actually making a down move while the SPY actually making an up move on the Friday. So we can pay attention to that. We have to see if this comes to anything, right? If it starts to catch up or anything like that, we will be paying attention to the divergence between yields and the SPY. One thing I wanted to talk about at the end here was the daily on Nvidia, and we're seeing that actually what we were talking about, right? If we do turn over on the MACD, we're really just waiting for this to turn back up, but this could just be an A, B, C to head to lower levels. So we want to be patient, wait for that MACD to cross in positive territory, and then you can see this start to really continue, right? If we get another couple bars that get us up into this area, start to get that MACD crossed over, it's a good probability that we're actually going to form another high in this overall move, and this is probably just some kind of A, B, C to head higher. So we're going to talk a lot about Nvidia on Sunday, so I do hope you join me back here for that information. So the main takeaway here is we do land within those weekly ranges 68% of the time. So if you do want those weekly ranges for those individual stocks, as Apple did react off the bottom and then went all the way to the top, they're very powerful and very good for knowing when to take profit and things like that. And you can get those ranges from me down in the description. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I look forward to talking with you on Sunday. All right, peace.